Hi friends. In today's video, we are starting off uh, regarding the warehouse management module in Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation. So we are starting off a new series which will cover the list of topics which are available in standard warehousing and also in advanced warehouse management module, including the mobile app application, how to set up, configure, and then use it in your D365 web-based emulator and also in a mobile-based application platform, and the related concepts of Dynamics 365 in warehouse management and inventory management and also in transportation management. That's what we are going to see in this series. So if you want to get regular updates on this, please do follow my profile. So this being the first episode one, so in this episode we are going to cover about what exactly the warehouse management process is, and how it actually helps the manufacturing, retail, or distribution organizations. That's what we are going to see, and what all the basic functionalities at a very high level. So basics of the warehouse management process, that's what we are going to see in today's video. So for the purpose of common understanding, I just made a small presentation. So I'll just quickly get into the presentation. So this is what we are going to see in today's topic. So the agenda will be like, so let me explore the screen. So that today's agenda for the first episode will be what is exactly warehouse management. Even if you are new to this concept of warehouse management, and if you are a beginner as a functional consultant, I'll walk you through what is exactly warehouse management is, and then we will also see what are all the warehouse management processes at a very high level, which are all the processes which control the warehouse management, and specifically then we will talk about what are all the capabilities that WMS is bringing in as far as Dynamics 365 is concerned. And last but not least, we will also talk about what is the difference between standard and advanced warehouse management, and in any of our implementation projects, how to evaluate and decide during the implementation project whether we need to go ahead with standard warehousing or advanced warehouse management or not. So this is a very important discussion. So do not skip the video, and please do watch it until the end. Okay. So what is exactly warehouse management? It is, so warehouse management is the process of managing the receiving, storing, tracking, moving, picking, packaging, and shipping the inventory. So right from receiving the material, the inbound operations, and then doing and the storing and put away process, and then tracking and the controlling the inventory, moving the material inside the warehouses or between the warehouses, and then picking the material from the right location, then packing and shipping in the material. So this is completely because I just served about a lot of definitions in the internet, but this one I find it to be more relevant and easy for the anyone to understand it. So all these operations are performed in warehouse management module, and so sorry I so the next point is warehouse module lets users manage the warehouse processes in manufacturing, distribution, and retail companies. So if you are one among these manufacturing, distribution, or retail companies, they all of them have a warehouse facility with them. So using which they distribute the finished good products, or managing the control of goods to production, or if you are a distribution company, you just simply trade the finished goods, who receive, stock it, and then based on the demand they supply it. So every organization which are under manufacturing, distribution, or retail, they need a warehouse space and a warehouse management processes to be involved. And third point is, in the warehouse management, it is getting fully integrated with other business processes. Let's say whether procurement whether it is procurement or production control, quality control, inventory transfers, sales orders, transportation, customer return order management. So in all these business processes, various if you say in the entire supply chain, warehouse plays a crucial role in terms of managing your inventory. So it is getting integrated across all other business functions. So this is a very important point. So these are the basic definition of what exactly warehouse management it is, right? So let's get into the next slide. So if a warehouse is not organized, then it will be something like, it will look like this. So you need to have processes in place. So warehouse management processes are very important in order to control the inventory in your warehouse. So what are all the basic at a high level? If you see, it consists of inbound operations, where you have the product receipt, and then doing a separation list and completing the put away process, where the inbound dock team will complete the gate entry process. So all these will be part of the inbound operations, so that need to be performed. So after receiving the material, then we have the warehouse operations, like where the warehouse person has to move the material across based on the location constraints or capacity constraints, and then perform certain inspections if required, or audits or stock adjustments, and then movements. So those kind of operations need to be performed. And also, as part of the warehouse operations, we also have the tracking and control. So you need to ensure that the material is in good quality or not, or you may need to do the counting, the cycle counting, and the stock counting journals need to be posted or based on the counting processes. So those are the tracking and control operations within the warehouse. And then followed by, we also have the outbound operations, which involves like picking the material, packing it, and then shipping it in the containers, so that it reaches the appropriate customer based on the your dispatch schedules. So this is at a very high level. These are the four main pillars where each and every operation is getting performed, right? So like I said in the first slide, where we say receiving and storing comes under the inbound operations, and then tracking, moving comes under the, and I would say, the warehouse operations, and then picking and packaging and shipping primarily comes under the outbound operations. So these are the important processes as far as warehouse management is concerned, right? So I think you got a brief idea now, right? How what exactly warehouse management process are, and why it is very important for an organization, right? Let's get into the next slide. So then when we talk specifically about the capabilities of WMS in Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O, it provides you with a lot of functionalities. Let's say you will be able to integrate it for the source documents like sales orders, return orders, and transfer orders. Because I have just taken a snip from the Microsoft Learn regarding the WMS capabilities, and there are a lot more available, using which you will be able to optimize your inventory. And you can also do a full integration with manufacturing and transportation offering, inventory properties controlled by inventory status. You will have inventory status and also license plate control, using which you will be able to control the various statuses of the inventory, like you can make it available or block it for certain inventory transactions. You can have absolute control over your batch and serial item support, and you can do multiple picking. You can also do cluster picking, and also you have the advanced counting capabilities. And then you will have the label routing and zebra ZPL support, where you will be able to print the labels, and whenever you users do a scanning of the device, user will be able to know the history of the user will be able to trace the history of the inventory. And you can manual or automatically move movement of inventory, which means the user will be using the location direct user will be able to identify quickly what is the best possible location for pick and put options. And then fully integrated quality control management, outbound wave processing, and also cross docking. So using the WMS capabilities, you will be having a lot of options in order to perform the work inside your warehousing, and right from your inbound operations to your outbound operations. So Microsoft Dynamics 365 provides you with all those capabilities, using which you will be able to bring absolute control of your inventory. So as we progress in this series, we will be able to touch upon some of the important concepts, and also the functionalities available in WMS, as we go from episode 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this being the first episode, we are covering only at the high level what is say warehouse management, and what are the capabilities that D365 has. And because as a beginner, we should know what are all these functionalities are, right? And like I said in the beginning slide, so we also need to understand what exactly is the differentiator for standard versus advanced warehousing. So basically, the question that comes to any functional consultant or an implementation project where a warehousing module is involved. So the big question which comes to our mind is whether we need to go with standard or advanced warehouse management. So I just listed down based on my experience. These are the 10 factors based on which we need to decide, evaluate, and decide whether we need to go ahead with the standard or advanced warehouse management, right? So first one is in terms of an implementation cycle, whether it is if it is a quick one, I won't recommend it you to go for a advanced warehouse because that requires complex configurations and setups. So we cannot implement it quickly, and if there is limitations in terms of time. And in terms of learning for the end users or the project IT team, standard warehousing is easy to understand, but advanced warehousing is a bit difficult, and a lot of configurations and custom parameters are involved. So user has to go through all those in detail. So the learning is a bit difficult over there. And if we look at the processes of the standard warehouses without the advanced warehouse configuration, it is very most of them are manual, and we cannot have a lot of room for automation. But in case of advanced warehouse, based on the queries and rules, we will be able to automate most of the processes. And if we look at the overall efficiency of the standard warehousing processes, it's very low because we cannot have more control over the inventory. But in case of advanced warehouse, we will have absolute control over the inventory, efficient movement of inventory across the supply chain. And if you look at the configuration from the configuration perspective, it is very limited. But in case of advanced warehouse, you need to have advanced rules and queries using which you need to configure the warehouses items, and then your hierarchies. So a lot of setups are involved as far as configurations are concerned. And then in terms of scalability, let's say even if you start off with a standard warehouse and then you decide you want to move it with advanced warehouse, basically I would not recommend that, because in case of scalability, there are a lot of limitations in terms of going out with standard warehousing. But in advanced warehousing, in case of handling a large volume of material, if you, let's say you are a large manufacturer, who is processing day in day out more than maybe a million or 2 million transaction, maybe a million of transactions. So in those cases, it is always better to go for advanced warehouse. The scalability is much better in terms of advanced warehousing. And also in terms of budget, if you talk about using advanced warehouse and mobile based applications and instances, it is definitely it's going to cost you high. And whenever you discuss with clients, you also keep this budget in mind. And generally, this, like I said, it is basically the eighth point regarding the project. It is linked to your point number one, whether it is a short term, whether it is a quick implementation, or it is going to take it is maybe a 3 4 year implementation, based on which you need to decide whether you want to go ahead with the standard warehouse or advanced warehousing. And also, if you look at the scope for integrations, I would say if you have a lot of third party applications in which you want to do the integrations, or if you are going to planning to develop some custom applications, mobile based apps, then it's always better to go ahead with the advanced warehousing. And also, last but not least, the mobile device control. You don't have the authentication or functionality to use the mobile device control in the standard warehousing. But on the other hand, you have advanced warehousing gives you the capability of using the mobile device control. So these are the 10 features or factors based on which you need to decide whether you need to go ahead with standard warehousing or advanced warehousing or not. So this will really help the functional consultants in order to take a call whether you need to recommend the client for standard warehousing or for advanced warehousing. Right? I hope that will be helpful. So that comes brings us to the end of the today's discussion. So the next slide I would say is so in the next episode 2, we are going to cover the key terminologies which are involved in warehouse management module, and what are those key terminologies mean, because it's also a big topic. We have a lot of key terminologies to cover. And then in episode number 3, we will be covering what are the basic configurations to start off our warehouse management series. So if you want to get these regular updates, if you are in LinkedIn, follow my profile Sriram Sivashankaran, or if you are using YouTube, you can follow my page, which is Sriram Sivashankaran D365 Talks. Right. So that's it for today's video. So hope to see you in the next episode number 2. And I think I already, like I mentioned, so there are a lot of topics which are involved in warehouse management, so we need to go one by one. So please do follow my profiles so that you will get regular updates regarding the same. Hope to see you in now episode number 2. Thank you.